the extremes of it, the sides of my hands go numb.
Yes.
My calves will go numb.
Yep.
It is so freaking good to have you guys back.
I'm so excited.
I love having just like other channels that focus around spicy foods. Like I always have my friends in, and like the people that are just around me. And a lot of them like casually like spicy food. But it's nice to have people that are like I actively go for the hotter things in the world. You know, so it's really really good to have you guys out.
It's an honor to be here, man. Like,
it is.
I know there's
you're
guys,
you're crazy.
You got people watching your channel that would die to be here, and here we are, and it's an honor.
Well, this is Dark and Bella from Heat 101, and they've been on the channel before. We did the Cully's Ramen Challenge that I failed, and they both were able to take down. It was one of the most disgusting things I've ever eaten in my life, and it was legitimately hot.
It was pretty bad.
It was pretty hot.
It was.
So they're down, and today we're going to be talking about something that I don't know if people like call me out on my channel about it, but I don't think like there's consistency on it, and that's the heat scale. You're like a 1 through a 10, and what is a 1, what is a 10, and how do you make it that decision? You know, like I don't know, like all of us, like our tolerances are constantly going up and down.
Yeah.
You know, like what do you call like what is a 1? What is a 10? What's taken into consideration? And so I just want to have like a discussion with you guys because I watch your channel and I feel like you guys have a really, really good understanding of where your personal heat scales are. And I feel like mine is just jumping all over the board. And I'm just kind of like randomly calling it. I feel like there needs to be some sort of like set, like rules almost, you know, like my nose goes, my eyes go, my tongue,
general
my throat.
guidelines.
It's like
really.
something.
That's what we
like
need.
there needs to be something there.
Yeah.
People are always like, you're calling it that's a freaking 7 to you. It's always a 7. Like, you know, like, but I don't necessarily know. Okay, so what is a 1?
A 1.
What's a 1?
A 1 would be like Frank's Red Hot.
Okay, that sounds good.
Your general. Got
So you're gonna say a
to it.
1 has heat.
A 1 has heat.
I'd like to say it's got a tingle.
A tingle?
A
I like that.
slight tingle.
It's got like the flavor of heat.
Yes.
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 Like
That's
Frank's
it.
has the flavor of hot sauce. Like
Exactly.
you know.
Yep.
So okay, I agree. Now, how do you move on from there? You know, like what? Like I feel like a 2. That's gonna be like one of the hardest ones to call, almost. Like a 2 or a 3.
A 2 is going to give you a little bit more. So you're going to have the tingle and then maybe that slight sensation in the back of the
burn.
jaw.
Like the
and
jaw?
You're going to start feeling
Okay.
a little more where you're going to have in your mind, oh, that's getting a little spicy.
Okay.
I think
Something.
that's
I think
gonna
I
be
think
a
I
2.
agree. I think I agree.
But then we're getting into the 3. And then the 3 is something that's neglected.
3's difficult.
On a lot of
No,
channels.
this is really hard to think.
It's
to
a
figure
hard
out.
one. I just had a 3, and she was calling it a 2, and I'm like, no, this is a 3.
What's it? Okay, what was it?
It was a hotline. The hotline pepper
okay.
ghost. I
Okay.
called that one a 3.
I've had that sauce. It's been a long time.
So it
I've
was a
had
good burn. It got me to where I was like, well, this is hot. But
Okay.
it didn't have that like concern where
Sure.
4 will take you.
Sure.
Where you're starting to go, okay, is this gonna stop getting hot?
Interesting.
And that's
Interesting.
kind of, but again, that's a hard one to call.
So that's what you're putting. Okay. So 4 is when you start to like almost like there's a thought of uncomfortableness starting to happen at a 4. Oh, is your throat burnt? Do you think your throat's going at that point?
Well, and that's the other interesting part is everything burns so different
I know.
that it's hard to tell.
It's so hard to tell.
And
Like,
everyone's different too.
absolutely. Well, you have like the very indicative like Reaper burns. You have the habanero burns.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
the scorpion pepper's got like a mixture between both of those. You know,
Get
it's
your
got-
roof of your mouth, and
Yeah.
one will burn like needles on your tongue.
You got tincture
and
burns.
tincture.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like those burn completely different than everything else.
They
So
do.
when you get into that 5, I'm thinking it's about time for the eyes to start watering
Really?
in that neighborhood, because I call usually a 6 is when my eyes are going, like starting to mist up.
Okay.
I'm calling that a 6.
So your throat's gone. Your tongue is gone.
Yep.
Okay, and now you're starting to get the sniffles. The eyes are going. That's a 6 for you guys.
Yeah, I'm thinking that's probably about a 6 when I hit that.
The 5 into the 6, the way that my guidelines are, it's got to have all of the above, right? So it's got to definitely have me concerned.
Okay.
It has to have at least my nose running. My eyes are broken, so they don't water a lot at all. I don't know
They
why.
don't?
See, I don't get a
really
lot. I don't
crazy.
get a lot of the teary eyes. Like I don't get that. And like the extreme stuff, I start like, I mean, the extremes of it. The sides of my hands go numb.
Yes.
My
Oh, yeah.
calves will go numb.
Yep.
Uncontrollable drooling on the table. Like we're talking like for me that's a fresh pepper. I have a hard time with fresh peppers, and so that's gonna just rock me. You
Yes. So like when you're hitting a 7, I'm thinking your eyes are pretty much going. Your nose is starting to run, and
You're
you're
breathing.
You got some labored breathing.
Yep.
and then you start getting into that 8, and this is where you're like
Yeah.
Lamaze.
Yeah.
And that's when you
Yeah.
know you're starting to get into the good stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, absolutely.
Now,
That's
like-
when you're gonna start getting the endorphin dump.
Yep.
You know, you're gonna start getting that like stony
You're
kind
gonna
of
wait
feeling.
for it. You're gonna want that
The
endorphin rush.
Oh yeah.
It's a beautiful
Oh yeah.
thing.
Oh yeah. Okay, now on the high end of it, have you had a 10? What leads to a 10? And is there a product that you'd call a 10? Because that's really hard
That's
for me.
a tough one. That
Because
is really tough.
to this day, I've talked about it so many times on my channel. The worst day of my life was the death wings that I had in Las Vegas. And when I was eating them, I think I was on it was such a bad day because I went there just to have just to try it and have like one wing. And like as soon as people found out, like we had like my lights go up, the whole restaurant
like,
dumped,
oh, no.
dumped over to me. So like I had like 35 people watching it. It was like-
Pressure's on,
It was like an
man.
episode of like Man vs. Food or something like
Nice.
that. And so I'm like, well, clearly I got to do it now.
Yep.
You know,
And
and
it's a win.
so my adrenaline was going so hard right then. It,
Oh,
it
yeah.
wasn't even that spicy. Like it wasn't that hot until I got into. I think I got into like the 5th wing, and I started feeling like almost like fluish. Like I was getting I was like feeling really
It's like
sick.
it's like you're being
Like
poisoned.
cold sweats
yeah,
and
yeah. I was
and-
feeling like
yep.
it felt like I was being poisoned, and so I'm like, I'm gonna stop. And then that led to my 30-hour cramp session that happened after that. And so I'm gonna say that's a 10, but it wasn't mouthy.
But you didn't stop.
It was aftermath.
You didn't stop.
Yeah.
So it's not a 10. Like you gotta. If you're in there and you're like, this heat is so intense, I can't put another bite in my mouth. That's a 10.
Okay.
Like the tube of terror.
Yeah.
I'd call that a 9 on a burn. That was a 9 for me when
Mm-hmm.
I was done with it. Between the breathing, the labored breathing, and everything, that was my 9, and that
Okay.
was the closest I'd been.
Okay.
Was the tube of terror.
That would be the one for me too. That bordered a 10. It really did. And there's literally it's because I lost control of my muscles and feelings. It made my body do things that my body doesn't normally.
That was
do.
kind of a similar experience that I had at the
Yeah.
same time. It's a very interesting. It's weird. It's the
It
weird.
is weird.
It's the weirdest feeling.
It's unnatural.
Yeah.
And
It is.
I've never had that replicated since.
It's completely
No.
unnatural
Nope.
and dangerous heat.
Yeah, it was scary. The first time I've ever been like truly scared.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
Like,
That's what does it.
Okay, so I'm
rough.
calling that a 10 on my scale, basically.
Yep.
Is there anything else that you guys want to add?
Cramps are horrible.
Cramps
Gosh,
are the
that
worst.
really and like you really do get like horrible like nightmarish flashbacks from these certain types of challenges that are up there in
Mm-hmm.
the 8s, 9s, and 10s. So I really do think that plays a factor in
Oh,
your heat
absolutely.
scale
It does.
for future challenges.
Yeah, I
you
mean
know?
that's where I land because you see, as people that watch this channel, they know I don't do a lot of the super extreme challenges, and that's because I'm so freaking traumatized by these awful
Yes.
cramps, and like I feel like my mouth is relatively. The tolerance of my mouth is relatively high. I feel fine in the mouth, but I feel like I'm a freaking 2-year-old when it comes to my stomach. Like
sometimes-
it's just so bad.
As it's hitting your mouth, you can almost like by the pain in your mouth, you can kind of judge what you're about to go through.
Oh,
later.
absolutely.
So that's when you start halfway through a challenge, you're thinking, oh, this isn't so bad, but I know what this is gonna do.
Exactly, and that's like one of
In
the
an hour.
and that's the hardest part.
Yeah.
Is to like deal with that because you understand where you're going.
You gotta push it in. You gotta,
is.
you gotta
You
push
gotta
it, make
understand.
it
You gotta
happen.
understand where you're going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Anyways, I hope that brought a little bit of understanding of how like the 1 through 10 kind of works, at least in our opinion. It's I mean everyone's got their different kind of vibe and thought of how this is going to go down. But thank you guys for joining and for giving insight on this.
Absolutely.
In the description below, I'm going to leave links to their channel, Heat 101.
101.
You gotta go check them out. They take on if there's a insane challenge out there, then they are going to be taking it on. You're doing 10 tubes of terror soon.
Yes, I am.
And that's a live stream. We do a lot of live streaming.
Yes, I
so
am.
And they do this live, which
if
is
you guys want to come
which is
hang out in live
crazy.
streams, come on down.
You
It's
got to
a
go
great
check them
time.
out. They
It
do
really
the
is.
they do the craziest of the craziest stuff, and they have fantastic content. Like you have
Thank
to go
you,
check
man.
them
That
out.
means a
No
lot.
problem. I'm a huge fan of the channel.
Thank you.
We feel the same.
I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys on the next.
Hey, this is Brian Ames. Please click the subscribe button that you see right there, and you'll subscribe to my videos. From now on, I'm going to be eating a lot of peppers. It's going to, oh man, it's going to be great. Bye.